Welcome back to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with San Diego businesses and the key people that are working hard to make a difference in our community. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. Welcome back. So we're here. Our next segment, we have from Spencer Gray, a local staffing company, Will Gowin.
Hello.
So welcome, Will. How you doing?
Great, thanks.
Good. So tell us a little bit about Spencer Gray. What do you do and how do you do it?
We are a staffing firm that's local. We're located downtown here in San Diego. We have 4 offices around the country. Our larger office is here in San Diego, but we focus mostly on ITIS, accounting, financial placements, those kind of things.
Okay, so you're working with I assume a lot of accounting firms that need temps and what have you?
Sure, we do that, but usually you can walk into any company of any size. They have an accounting department. They have IT, marketing as well. We do a little bit of marketing as well, too.
Good. How long have you been doing this?
Personally, 15 years. Spencer Gray's been in existence for 10. Okay.
So you had a background before you found Spencer Gray, and this is your office here in town, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. All of them are my offices, I guess.
Okay.
So who's Spencer and who's Gray?
Yeah.
Since your name is Will Gowin.
Okay, Spencer, my wife's kind of a marketing guru. She's been doing marketing for many years for very large companies. And Spencer is my grandmother's maiden name. She was 96 when she passed away in Virginia a few years back. And Gray is my 14-year-old nephew.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I didn't want to have my name in it. You know, I wanted to kind of connect it to the family, but yeah.
I think that's great.
So,
and that was your wife's idea?
Yeah.
She came over there?
Yeah,
She's smart.
We put a bunch of family names together, and we picked the 2 that we felt like that flowed well together.
Well, it works.
That's awesome. Awesome. So there are a lot of staffing firms in San Diego. What makes you any different, and what do you do?
Right. Well, that's always the question I think anybody wants to get asked when they're in front of a client. Where I think, recruiting, everybody can do recruiting and can do it in any industry. I know we try to be specific in certain areas in like IT and IS or accounting or whatever, but recruiting is recruiting. We could recruit a rocket scientist if we wanted to. What makes us different, I believe, is that we dig a little bit deeper. Usually the best candidates are the ones that are not out there. Everybody has access. I call it the low-hanging fruit. CareerBuilder, Monster.com, Indeed, Dice.com for the technology world, those kind of things. You can find those resumes from there. But the better recruiters, and I feel like those are the guys that we have that work for us, are the ones that will get that referral. And you don't stop digging. You might talk to somebody that's, hey, they're very qualified and everything else, but hey, I'm not quite looking right now, or hey, I just took another position, kind of thing. Well, hey, I've got a friend. Then you talk to that friend, and then that friend leads you to another person. Usually that's why you uncover the best talent, and I think we're very successful in doing that.
Good.
Well, some of the, in my past experience and using staffing on my companies, the thing that upset me the most is when you get someone that comes in, they're gorgeous, they're personality-wise, and then they start talking about their where they worked before, they do all these no-nos in the company, and they're starting off on the wrong foot with me right away.
Sure. We don't, it's one of the kind of things I think it's being kind of very upfront. We don't like to coach our candidates, and we'll tell them, we want them to do their research in the company, everything else. We'll give them a few suggestions about asking questions. Don't be too lengthy. Do not talk about bad experiences in past jobs, those kind of things, which can turn a interviewer off. But we want them to be themselves as well. So we don't coach them going in. Sometimes you'd rather hear that to start out with, and that person's not a good fit for your team.
Well, so yeah, I think I missed a couple things early on. You are predominantly the permanent placement, not a temp service, is correct?
No, we do all the above. It's contract to perm, and permanent placements. Contract could be anything like a project, short-lived. It could be something just like an increase in business, like a spike in business, like accounting firms, or during tax time, they could be a little bit busier, things like that. We can augment that staff. Then you have contract to perm. It's kind of like a try before you buy. You get somebody that typically, most staffing firms do like a 6 months to perm. They work there. They're trying you out, make sure you're a good fit for their team. You are who you say you are, because people can interview well, they can test well, a lot of other things, but sometimes they need to get in there, and you get to see how they interact with others and their productivity level. And then the last is the permanent placement.
So in some ways, it's almost like an outsourced HR department in a sense, because you guys do the interviewing, you do the testing, you do the background checks, right?
Sure.
Particularly for the temp to perm.
Absolutely. The one thing about, I think, staffing firms were maybe a little bit different than HR departments. HR departments, we have a national agreement with Semper Energies. Let's just say, use them as an example. They have internal recruiters, but they recruit on all types of things. We specialize more in areas, whether it be IT or those kind of things, and where they could just be kind of more generalist, and we will have a larger database of putting those folks in there. But like I said, kind of going back to the contract to perm, is kind of trying that person out and making sure they're a good fit.
Well, what if an employer, especially with today's new employment laws regarding government funding and all that, they have to meet a diversity goal or a veteran goal or something like that? Do you actually have candidates or people that you could place to meet those goals?
Sure, absolutely, but we can't discriminate. So it really doesn't make any difference. I would never name the client, but a client would say, well, hey, look, I need more females in this group, or I need more people of this race here. I've had that before in the past when I worked for a different staffing firm many years ago, and I just flat out tell them, I said, we can't do that. We can't put a veteran in there. We can't do that specifically, because we have to open it up to the right candidate. As long as they're qualified, we want to put them in front of our client.
Well, do you give the employer the option to choose based on a description you have of the person, whether they're a female or a minority or a veteran?
We give them all options. I mean, we just put the best candidates in front of them, and then it's up to them to decide, who they feel like the best candidate is. If they feel like somebody feels like it's a female's a better fit for this role or something, because there's a lot of other females, and that's up to them. We can't discriminate. So I'll let our client do that.
Yeah.
That pick.
How's it been for you right now in the economy?
Actually, it's been great.
It's been. Is higher unemployment better for staffing companies? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, you'd be surprised, because people. It's great to have that flexible workforce. A lot of times when you bring contractors in and they're not a permanent employee, they can work 20 hours that week. It could be like at the end of the month, they're very busy, so they're working the full 40 at the beginning of the month. So, people can really watch their bottom line. I do feel like during the bad times we're good, and during the high times we're good. Somewhere in between is always tough. I think the worst time I ever saw was 9/11, because nobody knew what to do. Nobody wanted to hire. Nobody wanted to do anything. I was in Houston, Texas at the time, and they have a very big downtown. People were scared they're going to fly into buildings and everything else.
Yeah.
People were just worried. Nobody wanted to do anything at that point. I think that's the worst time in staffing. It's usually that in-between point where they don't know if they want to grow or whether or not they just want to augment or whatever. Usually that's the slower time for us. But bad economy is good for us.
Yeah. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with co-hosts Andrea Kay and Urban Miaris. So tell me, I remember some years ago I was approached, and I didn't take advantage of it, but I was approached by a PEO, or a professional employment organization, to essentially buy my company. Is there still a market out there? And with all the workers' comp issues coming up, is there any issue for you on that?
Well, we don't do that. You have to be certified. I think it's less than, 600 or 700 companies or something that do that in the United States. Well, we prefer not to do that. We don't want to go in and take over the whole HR department and everything else. Our focus is mostly on recruiting and finding folks and finding that talent, and that's what we get paid for. We do have to adhere to all the laws and everything else. Workers' comp gets a little crazy. Unemployment has gotten real high for us, especially for contractors that we have that's on our payroll.
Yeah, I can imagine because workers' comp, while they're in an interim stage until their permanent placement, they're on your workers' comp.
Absolutely.
And you have to deal with that because you don't have the same thing as a set company. So
Right. Well, we have less issues than most because we do mostly office. We do all office staffing, and it depends on your classification codes and workers' comp and everything else. So we don't focus on like labor or like a shipyard or construction or something of that nature. Yeah.
you stay out of the high exposure workers' comp
That's
market.
right. So it's a little less tricky for us.
A wise man.
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact that in your industry, cash flow is a critical thing because
Sure.
you've got to pay your employees, especially those that are temps that you're placing, and the business generally doesn't have to pay until at the end,
Right.
until it's over with. So
That's right.
cash flow and just a critical. God bless you. I'll tell you, it's not an easy industry. It really makes professionals to do this well. It really does.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a candidate that you look at and you go, I know that I've got this client over here that could really use this person, but they work really well here for me in my own office?
Sure. Yeah. Well, you want to keep the best folks. No doubt about that. Absolutely. I got a great team, so
I think that's called cherry picking.
2 minutes, 2 minutes to break, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Yeah, she's the one who gave us your information, so she's done a wonderful
fantastic.
job.
All right.
Yay, Betsy.
Tell her I said thank you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Will, we're running a little bit short on time. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Well, you can just go to our website. You can find our office numbers, everything out there. It's just www.spencergray.com. Spencer, like the name, and Gray is Gray, not an E but an A. So all together, lowercase.
Okay, all together, lowercase, no dashes, dots, anything. How about a phone number if somebody wants to call you?
For our San Diego office is 619-281-3900.
Great. Well, Will, I appreciate you coming on,
Great,
and all the best. You are listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working to make a difference in our community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com, and I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be right back after the break with more homegrown business Close Up.